So I'm here with Joe Long. Joe Long, you're Fighters Inc. You're the man behind Fighters Inc. And you're bringing UFC Gym UK to the UK and Ireland. So talk me about how come you're the one that's bringing it here?
I don't think it's just me. You know, there's a team, but it's stemmed from Michael and I's relationship over the years. And you know, a couple of years ago, we said if we didn't try to make it happen, then we'd probably be kicking ourselves. You know, and 2 years down the line, it's happened and we're here. So you know, we've got a great team behind us. You know, with a lot of knowledge of the industry and franchising, and yeah, we're here.
Well, the question is, I've got to ask you, there's been rumours of the UFC Gym UK, UFC Gym being brought over to the UK for many, many years now, but to date it hadn't happened. And then you come along, Michael Bisping comes along, and somehow we are here today having a press conference to announce it. How's that happened, and why are you successful bringing it here where others have perhaps not managed to do so?
You know what? I think it's all to do with timing, isn't it? You know, things happen and things don't happen. And you know, luckily with this one, we've managed to make it happen in that time. I mean, as I say, it took 2 years to get to this point. I know there was a lot of other operators what wanted to get the brand, and there's a lot of people which want to franchise with UFC Gym, which is great. You know, and they can now do so through us owning the master franchise. So it can happen now, you know, for lots of people.
So, I mean, you're an ex-UK karate champion, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
So what?
While ago.
I'm sure it wasn't that long ago. What is it that you're bringing, as in your speciality, to this?
Well, I think from my perspective, it's marketing, it's PR. It's also knowing the gyms up and down the country. You know, we've promoted fight events for 21 years.
Wow.
You know, so we've been in and out of gyms, you know, from 1997. We understand traditional martial arts, and we obviously understand MMA. Works very closely with the UFC over the years, and understand the DNA of UFC and what it stands for. Obviously works with Michael for a number of years, and I think that knowledge of the brand and martial arts, you know, has led to us being in this position.
Okay, so you mentioned obviously your relationship with Michael. How did that come about?
Oh, Jesus, Michael.
Tell us some stories, some gossip.
You know what? The first time I met Michael competed. I think it was against the Beast, Epstein.
I know Mark Epstein.
Yeah, and they competed at the old Wembley Conference Centre at Cage Rage. Big shout out to Dave O'Donnell. Dave should have been here today, actually. And after, we was doing a K1 show, and we wanted Michael to fight on the K1 show. And spoke to Michael about K1, and it never materialised. I think he passed my card to his trainer at the time, and it never materialised. And then fast forward down the line, you know, down the road, before Mike was even in the UFC, we just got to know each other. And then for a lot of his early fights, I actually helped, you know, with his training camps, bringing in different sparring partners for Michael. And our relationship's just grown. You know, we've done a lot of commercial ventures with Michael, you know, with seminars, with appearances, with corporate events. So, you know, we've got a good working relationship, but most of all, we're good friends.
Okay, so when they brought this concept of UFC Gym to you, what did you think of it?
Well, it started with a discussion, but when I actually went to the States and witnessed the gyms, I was blown away.
Yeah.
You know, I was blown away by the energy, and you know, I know we keep going on about family, but you know, the spectrum of people which are in them. You know, as I say, you know, there's kids to old ladies doing Zumba. You know, I mean, and yoga. You know, it's a real mixed bag, and right now I don't think there's much of that going on in the UK.
Well, I think that's right.
Bridge that, you know,
Yeah.
I really do.
I mean, what's going to make you, besides obviously having the kids classes or kids involved, is that what's going to make your brand different to every other brand out there right now?
No, it's not just the kids classes, it's the whole package, you know, and it's the authenticity of UFC behind it as well. Also the training, somebody mentioned earlier about, you know, the staff and the training. The training which these guys from UFC Gym provide is second to none, you know. You have to go through an online university, you know, to be able to be an instructor in the gym. Tamer, How many hours does trainers have to go through to be a coach with university?
Sorry.
It's about like 2 weeks training program in the UFC. And again, those guys are already experts. And on the top of it, we add 2 additional weeks of training, intensive training.
So there's a lot of training there, people, it's not like just a local gym where people, it's like, oh, I'll get Rob to cover tonight because I can't do a class. That's not going to be happening, everybody which is involved has got to go through the program which these guys set out for us.
So, speaking of the specifically trained staff, I mean, if you're rolling over 105 gyms across the UK and Ireland, that's a lot of people to make sure that they're trained up, going through the Open University to be able to run these classes. I mean, that's in itself has got to be like a very tough and arduous feat to do.
Yeah, it sure is. But with the support of UFC Gym in America, it's very possible. I mean, Adam worked it out yesterday. I think you're looking at the whole rollout. You're looking at around about 5,000 staff.
Wow.
So it's kind of a big deal.
I want to even add something else to that, Joe. You guys as the master franchise, we're going to help them formulate a UFC Gym University UK. In which they're going to have their own university here. And that's our job to provide the curriculum and help them so they can have the master franchise, not needed to be sending every single one, of course, of their coaches to the U.S. They're going to have their own university here. We're going to create a whole system here.
So currently, I mean, in the UK, to be, say, for example, a personal trainer working in a gym, you've got to undergo some classes, you pay, and you go through your level 1, 2, and 3, and then you're qualified. So if somebody like that came to one of the UFC Gym UK and said, I want to be a trainer, would that be enough, or they'd have to undergo the specific training?
They have to go through the specific training. Yeah, of course. They have to go through the program, and be vetted.
Yeah.
And then they're on board. I mean, I was speaking to someone earlier. We've already launched the website ufcgym.co.uk, and apparently we're already. It's already dinging off that people like PTs are getting in contact with us already today, which is great. It's amazing.
Wow. Okay. So, where's first then? I know you didn't want to answer that question earlier. Hint, West London's really nice.
I'm sure it is. It's very nice, but the fact is we actually don't know because you're juggling balls. So the team's juggling balls. We've got 2 lots of great commercial agents who are here today, who are looking up and down the country. We've also been visiting sites with Tamer and Adam this week to get their view on sites, because their view and expertise on sites is second to none. So it's kind of meeting in the middle with their knowledge and understanding and our understanding of the UK market.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's different. At the end of the day, we're different over here to the States, but their knowledge is second to none, and they've given us some great tips on the last couple of days, with various locations. I mean, we visited a location a couple of days ago, and as a team, we thought it was great, but their expertise was like, no, that site isn't. It just misses out. It's like 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
We want a 10 out of 10. For our first site, and that boiled down to the car parking space.
Yeah.
They didn't believe there was enough car parking space. So little things like that, which we may think, oh, that's cool. We're being educated by the guys from the States.
You talk about lack of car parking space, but let's be honest, we're in the UK, we're a small Ireland. There's going to be that issue. So will that change what areas you're going to go in?
Yes and no. Of course, we're very concerned about particularities of the UK market, but we adapt to every single country that we have. And under no circumstances, the UFC gym in India is the same that a UFC gym in the UK. That's the same, the United States. They're different. But we know certain things that work on the fitness industry and certain things that don't. A normal gym in the United States that is about 20,000 square foot, maybe you'll have 200 parkings. Here in the UK, we'll adapt to that and maybe have 30, but we still think that you need to have 30. That gym that we visit, we thought it still didn't meet that criteria.
Sure. And when you say parking, the signature gyms, the big gyms, 25,000 square foot plus, they're not going to be in central London. They're not going to be in central Manchester. They're going to be on the outskirts. The core clubs and the class clubs are going to be more of the clubs which are in the cities.
Again, you've talked about the different classes of the gyms that are going to be here. How are you going to determine, besides obviously the fact that Central London can't have a signature gym, how are you going to determine what area is going to have what gym?
We've got a team working with us strongly on mapping and demographics. So, which we've been educated, like massively on in the last few weeks. And we're working also with the British Franchising Association and our representatives who are looking after us, our solicitors, have directed us in different directions to work alongside the BFA, and they're helping very much so with the demographics and the mapping of the gyms.
Wow. So, I mean, guys, this sounds...
Sorry, Irene, I didn't realise, people like Tesco Express, they don't just plot up, oh, we're going to take that shot. They still do the research of the area and still look at the demographics and still look at the mapping, and that's one of the biggest brands over here. So if they're doing it and they're the biggest brand over here, why are we not doing that?
Absolutely. I mean, these kind of things with the amount of money and branding behind it, you have to kind of do your homework, really, don't you?
We actually, it's been a great education, and marketing-wise, it's great, it's great, absolutely brilliant.
And of course, the UFC itself is just such a growing phenomenon, if I can say that word properly, here in the UK. So, I mean, this brand can only go from strength to strength.
Yeah, hopefully it will. We're confident. It's going to be a slow burner. You're not going to see 105 gyms, in 2 weeks. It's going to be a slow burner, but we're going to learn. We're going to adapt to the UK market, and then we're going to roll out. With the help of these guys.
Wonderful. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you both. Again, West London is an amazing place to have a gym, especially in Acton, where there isn't anything right there right now. But thank you very much for your time, and I wish you both all the success.
Lovely, and make sure you get
and
on UFC Gym.
don't forget to follow ufcgym.co.uk.